All right, all right. It looks like we are live. Can you guys hear me okay? I am so sorry for the delay. I was on time and then my documents stopped working. So I had to search for them. Hopefully they're working now. If we have to search during the live stream, I apologize in advance. But we are here. Hello, welcome. How are you guys doing today? How is the Bree Hive? What's going on? For those of you who do not know me, I am Boss Attorney Bree. Here on this channel, we cover lawsuits, including trademark lawsuits, copyright lawsuits, and really whatever we feel like covering. Today is going to be one of those situations where we're covering whatever we feel like covering. As you can tell by the thumbnail and the title, we're going to be looking into the Idaho murders. It probably won't be as bubbly of a conversation as we normally have because we are talking about such a heavy topic, such a serious topic, and we don't want to make light of it. But it is also a very important topic that we know what's going on and hopefully get some justice for these 4 young souls that lost their lives. So let me know how you guys are doing in the chat. This is one of I think I've covered a couple of criminal cases, but this one is probably going to be the heaviest criminal case that we've covered on this channel so far. So I hope everyone is doing well. I've had a good day, did some good research, excited to get into this case. We got 2 things to go over. One of which decided that it was not going to, no, actually, both documents decided that it was not going to load. But one document I was able to get to work through Dropbox. And the other document, for whatever reason, deleted the first page, but kept the last page. But I was able to find it online quickly. So hopefully that website does not kick me off because I have not saved it like I had it saved before. But I don't know what's going on with Dropbox on this computer here. I had did the work. You guys don't care about that, but at my office, and now my home computer is not working. So let me know how you guys are doing in the chat. I'm super excited to get into this. I know quite a few of the lawyer YouTubers have covered this already. Unfortunately, I was not able to cover it as soon as it came out because, work and jobs and making money. But we are here now. So we'll hear the take of the Bree Hive on this. I'll be looking at your comments. So make sure you go ahead and drop your thoughts on the situation. Remember, Bree Hive is always super respectful, but just in case this is a triggering case from you, remember to stay respectful in the chat, okay, guys? And we got our moderators to help us out with that. All right, we have Cordoba82. Welcome back to the live stream, saying good evening to the Bree Hive. Good evening to you as well. Thank you for showing up. Okay, we have Nissa Howard saying hi, Bree. Hello, welcome to the live stream. Nice to see you again. We have Mr. CKB back in the chat saying this case is getting hot. A lifetime movie for sure. Shout out to Bree and the Hive. I'm tuned in. Nice to have you back here in the chat. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. So that's one of the things that we're going to cover. Actually, we're going to be covering the affidavit. So it's going to have a lot of the alleged facts leading to the arrest. And I think it's going to be really interesting. I read some of it and I also listened to some of it from Emily D. Baker, but I have not gone through everything because I do like to do the live reactions with you guys. So we're all going to, I don't know if you guys have seen it already. Let me know in the chat. We might be, going through it newly together, and some of you may have already seen what's in there. Okay, but don't spoil it if you have seen it already. Hello, Swanky. Welcome back to the chat saying, what up, y'all? How is everyone tonight? And anybody else following this case? I was just watching Ickett Mel. I don't know if I'm familiar with that person live covering this case. Yeah, quite a few people have already hopped on live on this. And then I'm on the West Coast. So everything is just like super late for me because East Coast people, you get it early. Even if you get off at 5, you still get on earlier than me. So yeah, a couple of people I know, Natalie, Lawyer Chick, has covered it. Emily D. Baker, I think Uncivil Law also was looking at it today. Can't remember anybody else off the top of my head. But yeah, the case is crazy. I was just a follower of it at first on TikTok, but as the arrest came and more things are coming out, I think it's important that we also cover it on YouTube, and maybe I should speak about it as well, since we have a channel that we dedicate to law anyways, right? Cardova82 says, hi there, Nissa, and just saying hi to everyone. How's your day? Let me know how your day is going in the chat, peeps. Marianne Williams, welcome back to the chat, a member of the channel and one that dedicates memberships to other people, which we are so appreciative of. Saying, hi all, just watched Emily D. Baker and Natalie's live, got Runkle on my laptop and waiting for Bree on my phone. Well, welcome. Thank you for supporting everybody. We definitely appreciate it from you, Marianne. Okay, we have Cardova saying hi too. Okay, you guys are having a chat. I'll let you guys have that. Cardova says to Marianne Williams, woman, tell me you are law and lumber in your tablet and you are set. Is Law and Lumber live right now too? Hello to Carla. Hello to Carla. J. Michael RN, hello. How are you today? Cardova saying hi to Carla. Let's see what we got going on. Hello, Swanky says to Cardova82, gotcha. Yeah, I've watched a few videos myself. I almost never follow cases in real time, but this one is tough to avoid. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And it's a pretty good case, pretty important case. I'm excited to see what the evidence is. Like I said, I read a little bit of it, but I didn't read the whole thing, okay? Z Seltzer says, my third live on this subject. Yeah, it's interesting, and there's just so much, and there's just so many different takes that you can take with it. So watch as many lives as you want about it. Hello Swanky says, oh yeah, I was watching Natalie Lawyer Chick live earlier, but only caught the beginning. How was the rest of it? And plus Emily D. Baker. Oh, to Marianne. I was like, I didn't watch Natalie Lawyer Chicks today because I was working still. And then Emily D. Baker I had in the background while I was working. So kind of listening, kind of working. You know how that goes. All right. Marianne said no tablet. J. Michael RN says working, living life, need distraction from the nausea. Thanks for covering this. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling sick. I think a lot of people are getting sick right now. I hope that it continues to miss me, and I hope that you get better. Member of the channel, guys, we got some members of the channel in here, and I forget to say it. But for those of you that don't know what membership is, you basically support the channel on a monthly fee, and you get cool little emojis and badges next to your name, and you just support the channel. Help me do this on a weekly basis, Tuesdays and Thursdays, now at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and just talking about cases that you guys want to hear. Always open to suggestions and what you guys want to cover too. Nissa says this is a hard case. It for sure is, and I'm hoping I'll be able to keep up with it without letting it get to me too much. And the thing is I like true crime, but it just feels it's so heavy when it is during the time as well, because you have the families that's watching and all of the things. But it's hard. I find true crime and murder investigations and things like that, I find that interesting, but it's always still so sad what lengths people will go to just to remove someone else from the planet. And this guy, I'm not even sure what his connection was to these college kids. I'm not sure what his connection was. I'm sure we'll find out as the trial goes on. Hello Swiggy says, Boss Bees, don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, if you have not already, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. That's cool. Sage Moon, welcome back to the live stream. Nice to see you. Cardova talking to Marianne. We have Carla saying more like a 7-part Netflix series. Oh, it's going to be a long one. Did they already come out with something on the Gabby Petito case? That one I had to walk away from as well. There's a lot of cases going on. A lot of hard cases. Here we go. The beautiful live saying, what's good people? Been a while. Yes, nice to see you back here on the live stream. I did disappear, but I have been back and consistent for at least a week now. We got 3 streams under our belt since I've dedicated to being consistent again. J. Michael RN says, my third look good. I'm glad you guys are catching all of the live streams, the videos. I know it was popping up a lot for me on TikTok. I have not been able to look at TikTok today, so I don't know what TikTok is saying, but for sure, YouTube, everyone's on it. Carla says, seen it, but want your take. Good. Yes. Get all the takes. Get all the takes. We have Cheerful Bacon. Welcome back to the live stream. Saying, hey, Bree and chat. Hello. Sage Moon saying likewise. Cap saying, oh, hi. Hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. Let's see what else we got. Carla says, I'm supporting everyone today and tonight. Yes, we love to see it. Support the YouTubers. This stuff is hard. It's hard and it's time consuming, but we love to be here. This says, no law in lumber is not today. Yes, tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Friday Night Frenzy. Like when I tell you guys I disappeared, I literally disappeared. I wasn't watching any YouTube. I wasn't doing any YouTube. So I would love to see what Rob has to say on the topic tomorrow because I won't be streaming tomorrow. Cardova says, hi there to Carla. J. Michael RN says, mine is medication related. Chemo sucks. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you're going through chemo, but hopefully you're doing good going through it. We hope well wishes for you. Sage Moon talking to Hilla Swanky. Okay, we got people. Cardova82 says, sending lots of hugs and holding you up in love and strength. Yes to J. Michael RN. And we're happy to have you here live streaming with us while you recover from your medication. Cheerful Bacon says, as I mentioned on Natalie's live, as I mentioned on Nat's live, this one hits close to home with a brother and his family living in Moscow. Really appreciate hearing so many perspectives. Yeah. And so some of the information is going to be crossover because, of course, we're looking at similar documents, the same documents. But we do have different opinions coming in. And then we also have opinions from the chat coming in. So feel free to drop your opinion. As you guys know, I try to read pretty much every chat that I can. Unless you guys are like having conversations, sometimes I read them after it's too late and I don't realize. But I try to read most of the chats. Okay, and then Carla says the PCA leaves me with more questions, but I think probable cause affidavit. Yep. Leaves me with more questions, but it will be good to see how you perceive this all. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what is in the documents. And then also when this goes to trial, I'm pretty sure this is probably going to be televised in some kind of way. I think right now they're not live streaming it, but they are pretty much releasing the information pretty quickly, like allowing people to record and then post it and put it on the news and whatever it might be. So I'm wondering if they're going to do the same thing for the trial. There's already a lot of publicity following this case. How long was he on the run before he was caught? I can't remember exactly the dates, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to first go through the GAG order. I have not read this, so I don't know if it makes sense to go through this first or to go through, probably doesn't matter, honestly. All right, we're going to go through the GAG order first because that's the one that is not saved and I don't want them to kick me off of there. So let's go ahead and start sharing the screen and see what's going on. We have this case in Idaho in the county of Latah. Is that how you say that? And we have the state of Idaho going against Bryan I think it's Christopher Kohberger. Is it me or is it common for people that are arrested for murder in these type of high publicity cases? They have weird last names. Like it's never John Smith. It's like always these names that are very distinct. Is it like something with the last names? It's never, to me, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like they always have these different last names. Not common, not Mr. Chris Johnson or Brian Johnson or anything like that. It's always a different name that I probably never seen before. And then once this case is over and resolved, I'll probably see this last name all the time. Let me know if it's just me or not. Okay. And so we have a non-dissemination order, which basically just means you can't put out information without the court's permission or without whatever reasoning they put into this GAG order. The public calls it a GAG order because it's basically gagging your mouth to be quiet, but non-dissemination order nonetheless. The court, by stipulation of the parties, enters its order as follows. So they actually agreed. The court didn't just order this without any input from the lawyers and the person that's under investigation or under the court's eye, which is Mr. Bryan Kohberger. They basically came to an agreement. I can understand why Bryan would not want information getting out, because it could kind of taint the jurors if this gets to trial. It could just taint his case in general. He's already all over the place. Imagine being him, and I don't know who he is, and I don't know what his life was like before this trial, but I would imagine that a lot of people did not know his name. I don't think he's a social media influencer. I'll check and look later, but I highly doubt, he was very well known. To all of a sudden, all of these pictures of you being all over the internet, you can search his name and find things on him. I'm just saying this off of what I believe to be true, but I am going to look and see, was he popular before this, or was he well known before this? But I could definitely see why he would not want information getting out. Okay. It is hereby ordered that the parties to the above title action, including investigators, law enforcement personnel, attorneys, and agents of the prosecuting attorney or defense attorney, are prohibited from making extrajudicial statements, written or oral, concerning the case, other than a quotation from or reference to, without comment, the public records of the case. So basically, keep your mouth shut about what's going on in the case. If there is something already said in court on the record, then you can quote it, or you can talk about it, but you can't really give your opinion or your comments about it. So basically, in the hearing today, if the public defender, no, not the public defender, if the prosecution came out of the court, they could say, today we had a pre-trial hearing, and let's see, bail was brought up. I guess it was brought up. It wasn't really considered yet, but the court decided to keep the defendant in jail with no bail at the moment. They can say something like that, but they can't say like, yes, there was no bail, he could not post bail, and that's the right thing to do because we need to hold him because he is, known to leave, go into a different state and things like that. But they can comment like directly on what was done. Doesn't have to be like a direct quote, but they can comment on those things. They can't say, oh, it was no bail because of these reasons if those reasons were not listed. Okay, let's see where we are. The order specifically prohibits any statement which a reasonable person would expect to be disseminated by means of public communication that relates to the following: evidence regarding the occurrences why can I not read today? Evidence regarding the occurrences or transactions involved in the case, the character, credibility, or criminal record of the party. So you can't say Bryan was known to hide people in his basements. Alleged, this is like an example, not what he actually did, so don't quote that. But basically, you can't say stuff like that, okay? For the people involved in the court case, the performance or result of any examination or test, or the refusal or failure of the party to submit to such test. So if they come in and say, we want you to take a psychological exam, and he says no, the prosecution cannot then hold a press conference and say he is guilty because he declined to take the psychological exam. They cannot do that. Any opinion, let's see where we got, I messed up. Okay. Any opinion as to the merits of the case or the claims of the defense of the party, again, the defense attorney coming out and saying, we're going to win this thing. And then the prosecution saying, no, the defense is claiming they're going to win this thing because he was in Europe at the time. And we know he was not in Europe. So you just can't, just don't talk. Don't talk unless it was in the case, right? Any other matter reasonably likely to interfere with a fair trial of the case, such as, but not limited to, the existence of contents of any confession, admission, or statement given by the defendant, the possibility of a plea of guilt. Interesting that they will put that in there. That has to go onto record before they can tell you anything. So I would imagine that The camera activity is going to continue to be how it is, that the cameras are kind of coming afterwards, or they're in there, but they're being posted after the actual hearings. Any possibility of the plea guilt to the charge offense or lesser offense, or any opinion as to the defendant's guilt or innocent, which that should just be common. You shouldn't say, oh, he's guilty. You're just going to say, we're using our evidence and we're going to try to prove that he's guilty, because everyone's innocent until proven guilty in America, right? It is further ordered that no person covered by this order shall avoid its proscriptions by actions that indirectly or deliberately cause a violation of this order. You can't go home and tell your wife to tell the news that he entered the plea deal before it goes on to record. Okay. It is further ordered that this order and all provisions thereof shall remain in full force and effect throughout this case, or throughout these proceedings until such time as a verdict has been returned, unless modified by this court. So don't violate it until it's all done, right? Okay, now we can get rid of that one because that one wasn't saved. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know I'm a little bit up in the comments right now, so I'm gonna go down. Okay, I guess I'm not that far off. Okay. And we have J. Michael RN saying roughly 45 days. Is that in reference to him being on the run? I think so. Carla Barrick says, yes, start with the gag order. Okay, perfect. That's what we did. We got Hella Swanky saying, just FYI, apparently it's pronounced Musco. Oh, where is that? Anyways, it's called, or Moscow. It's called Moscow. And the residents don't like when people get it wrong. It looks like Moscow, though. Like the Russian, I thought it was like that. Is it a Russian country or Russian city? Whatever. Moscow. I thought it was Moscow. So Moscow, okay. Every video so far I've seen the creators say they've been chewed out for getting it wrong. Well, you know me, I pronounce everything wrong. Hello, Swiggy Santa, Sage Moon, you too, homie. Just over here trying to survive adulthood. Yes, aren't we all? Z Celtic said, I just don't understand why they haven't renamed the town to Moscow. I don't know if I'm going to remember that. When I see it, I'm probably going to say Moscow. Is anyone there from here, or anyone here from there that's gonna spam my comment section? I don't think so, right? Fat Baby Toodle says, Seltzer, me either. I don't even think the Moscow in Russia is pronounced like cow. Is it not? What? That's the way I've heard it. That's how I've learned it. It is what it is. Cardova 82 says, Bree, could you please enlarge the document vertically? Oh, okay, sorry. There we go. And then Z Seltzer says, I was thinking the same thing. Policing the pronunciation of the city name. It's not enough. It's not enough to not make people think Russia. Yeah. They might want to change the spelling, right? Alice Wake says, right. It looks exactly like the Russian city. Yeah, Moscow. I don't even know. Well, let me go. I don't even know why it would be pronounced that like that. Hello Slinky says to Fat Boy Toodles, I didn't know that, but I wouldn't be surprised if US Americans say it wrong. Yeah, I'm probably going to continue to say it wrong. Cardova says, thank you, Queen Bree. No problem. I am here for your entertainment, so let me know what you guys need. And I did it again where I forgot to turn on closed caption. I don't think it'll let me do it with the live stream going. Oh no, I can't even see it anymore. Okay, let's see. Can you guys let me do it? Let's see. No, it's not gonna let me do it. So you guys are more up to date with me, or in real time with me. When we have on the closed caption, it's a little bit further behind. In Russia, it's pronounced Moskva. Moskva? Okay. In Russia, it is Moskva. From Moscow? What? No way. Hello, Soki says, oh, thanks, y'all, for the correct Russian pronunciation. I'm going to keep saying Moscow, and I hope people don't come for me. I don't know what else to tell y'all. That's all I got. I'm not going to remember that. Moxba. Sage Moon says, haha, same here. Ain't that the truth? They don't be telling you how it really is out in these streets, right? Adulthood, right? Wilhelm Meister says there are 15 towns and 15 towns or so in US with that name. There is one in the Poconos. Look at me, about to butcher more words, right? About 20 minutes from where Kohberger was from. Are you calling him Kohberger? His name is Kohberger with a K. See, now we got all these pronunciations, and now we got spelling issues too. And then we have oh, Tiny D, welcome back, moderator and member of the channel, saying, hey, Bree Hive, nice to have you here. I know it's late where some of you guys are at, but I had to push the time back. But I'm still happy that you guys are making it here. Okay, we are going to jump into the probable cause affidavit. I hope that I can get through it without stuttering. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm wondering if I'm about to get some COVID symptoms or something, because I've been losing my train of thought a lot, like in the past week or so. And I know sometimes, I mess up on stream, but it has been a lot more often. And it also has happened on a couple of phone calls where like my train of thought has been lost. So I don't know what's going on. I know that I'm having like some side effects of my COVID shot or what it might be. But yeah, I keep forgetting things and messing words up and, trying to read too fast. So hopefully we can get through this document. It's 19 pages of information. Hopefully we can get through it without me butchering it. Let me see. Why is this showing? Go away. How do I make this go away? Oh, no. Come on. I don't need you blocking my screen here. I might have to make this big. I can't watch YouTube Studio, guys. So if anybody's in there acting all crazy, please go ahead and put it in the comments or use your moderator powers to stop them, because I had to block off the YouTube Studio on my end, so I can't see anything. All right. Let's see. We got a couple more comments, and then we're going to jump right in. And then J. Mike RN says, Poconos. Think so. Hello, Swanky says, to me, if you want, I can send you a tweet/DM to remind you to enable CC before you go live. I use CC a lot, so I don't mind. Yes, I just, busyness. And actually, I think what happened was that I got onto the stream and then all my documents started messing up, which made me mess up. So we're going to get back into the swing of things. We're going to get back into it. I used to never forget, but now I am forgetting. So if you have the time and energy to do that, I would appreciate it, but you definitely don't have to. Wilhelm Meister says, I'm calling him Kohberger as Kohberger as an insult. Well, we don't know if he did it yet. So we still have to, we can't be mean. We have to do innocent until proven guilty, right? All right. J. Michael Arian says, it's okay. I work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Awesome. So you get to hang out with us while you're working. What a cool work shift. I want to read this from Hello Swanky says, they don't tell you about this. Shaking my head, but to be honest, kids/teen me probably wouldn't have listened even if they tried to warn me. One thing about me, which I think is a little crazy, is I never really wanted to be an adult. Like as a kid, I knew it was coming, but I didn't try to be an adult. I didn't want to say, oh, I can't wait to move out. I did go straight to college, but I don't know. I wasn't that kind of kid. And now I'm here and I was like, I didn't even want to be doing this when I was 16. Now I'm doing it at, grown, and I don't want to be grown no more. Okay. Tanya D says that would be awesome, J. Michael. For the work schedule, yes. Cardova 82 says, Bree, no fret. My train of thought left station and I have no idea where it is. That's what I feel like is happening to me. My brain is always scattered. It's all over the place. And maybe it's because I have too many thoughts in there. YouTube, work, court, all kinds of stuff. Tiny D says, I don't get off until 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So this is a good time. Oh, awesome. I thought you were on the East Coast, though. That would be a late get off time if you are on the East Coast. Maybe I might be confusing where you live. So many people. Tiny Hella Swanky says to Wilhelm Master. Will see now I can't even say that. Wilhelm Meister. Well, D, we don't cuss over here, had no idea, not surprised, just wouldn't have thunk it. So they're talking about growing up. Hello Swanky says, poke a nose. Poke a nose. I can say that. Poke a nose. Is that right? Poco. I was saying poco nose. Poke a nose. Now we have a pronunciation class. I've probably been saying that wrong too. I don't even know where that is. So I wouldn't even know. I've never even heard of that before. Amber Lowe says, good evening, Bree. I just finished watching Emily D. Baker stream on this matter. Cool. Yeah, I watched a little bit of her earlier. I know a lot of people are covering it. So I'm happy that everyone still wants to hear my little take on it. Hello Slinky says, oh no, I grew up hearing I could run my own life when I was grown. So I was in a rush. Yeah, regret that. Yeah, I didn't get that one. I was a good kid. I don't know if that shocks anyone or not, but I didn't do bad things. And I would say in my family all the time, and my siblings probably hate me for it. But I never got in trouble on my own. It was just my siblings like getting whoopings. I don't know if I could talk about that on live stream, but you get a whooping. It was always a group effort when I got a whooping, but I know my siblings, they got whoopings without anybody else being involved. But me, no, I've never gotten a solo whooping. It's always had somebody else involved in my whoopings, okay? Mr. Howard says, I'm on the East Coast. It's almost 10 p.m. here. Well, I'm happy that you are still joining us live because I would probably be asleep if it was 10 p.m. Tiny D says Central Standard Time, but mental health is 24/7. Oh, yeah, that is true. That is true. Sage Moon saying, talking to them. And then Z Seltzer says, yep, here in Ohio. Okay. For the one of those cities, I think. Okay. Tiny D says, I have to be available for people on the West Coast. Oh, that's good. So you work with people on the West, all throughout the United States is what I'm going to assume. That's good. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into this. We're going to have to be a little bit more serious. So try to leave the jokes out of it, guys. I know we like to have fun over here on this channel, but this is our serious topic. Let's jump into the affidavit of probable cause affidavit. For those of you who do not know what that is, it's basically the reasoning that the police and the criminal, I can't even think of what it is. It's the criminals, the government side of why they should arrest that person, right? These are the reasons why we think this person is guilty. And for that reason, Judge, we want a warrant, or we want to be able to arrest this person because he is the highest. He is most likely the suspect. He is most likely the person that did this. Okay. I was able to get through that. Not the best, but we got through it. Okay. Let's share it. Let's talk about this. Is this big enough for you guys? It is on Dropbox. It won't make this little thing disappear. So I hope that is not distracting. We have Exhibit A, the statement of Brett Payne. The below information provided by Brett Payne, who is a duly appointed, qualified, and acting peace officer within the county of Is it Lata or Lutta? How did we say that one? The county of Lata, state of Ohio or Idaho. Where am I right now? I need a sip of water. Okay, state of Idaho. Come on, Brianna. Idaho. All right. Brett Payne is employed by Moscow. Am I saying it right? Moscow Police Department in the official capacity or position of corporal, and they're going to abbreviate that to CPL. Corporal. Yes, that's right. And has been a trained and qualified peace officer for approximately 4 years. CPL Payne is being assisted by members of the Idaho State Police and agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They got the FBI involved On November 13, 2022, at approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department, MPD, Sergeant Blaker and I responded to 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, hereinafter the King Road residence, to assist with scene security and processing of a crime scene associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police forensic team was on the scene, was preparing to begin processing the scene. MPD Officer Smith, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene. I'm sorry, I don't want that one. Okay, we can do this one. Officer Smith and I entered the King Road residence through the bottom floor door on the north side of the building. Officer Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned through Zana's driver's license, and other personal belongings found in the room. Was Zana Kernoodle, hereinafter, is that right? Kernoodle or Conato? Conato? These are different names for me. Very different names for me. Okay. Just before this room, there was a bedroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle, laying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased and with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Okay, so we're getting right into the details of this one. He is not sugarcoating and putting a lot of things on top of it. This is where we're going to get a little bit deeper. There are some redacted parts, as you guys can see. I'm not sure exactly what was redacted, but it might be some of the crime scene. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin. Chapin was, is it Chapin or Chapin? Was also deceased with wounds later determined. Autopsy report provided by Spokane. I know how to say that. County medical examiners, dated December 15, 2022. That was a long time for the medical report, to be caused by sharp forced injuries. I then followed Officer Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee Goncalves. I'm gonna go with Goncalves. Hereinafter, Goncalves' room. I later learned from review of Officer Nunez's body camera, there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. The dog belonged to Goncalves and her ex-boyfriend Jack Dokerer. I think that's how you say it. Wasn't he one of the people that people thought was a suspect in the beginning? Was that boyfriend Jack? I think so, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Kaylee, yeah, I think so. I found out from my interview with Jack on November 13, 2022, and he and Goncalves shared the dog. Officer Smith pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogan's, hereinafter Mogan, bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the third floor. Yeah, all of these last names are really, really different. Okay, someone's correcting me. Gonsalves. Okay, I'll try to remember that. These last names are hard for me. I don't know why, but they're very hard for me. And I've never seen a lot of these, all of them other than Smith at this point. I have not seen any of these last names. Okay. As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. Both Goncalves, I already forgot, Goncalves and Mogan were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed that appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. The sheath was later processed and had Cobber USMC, so I'm going to assume that's the U.S. Marine Corps. And the there it goes. And the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA suspect profile left on the bottom snap of the knife sheath. So basically, he left DNA behind that could be connected to Kohberger. That is interesting because it sounds like it was a big mess in there. A lot of injuries, a lot of blood. So to be able to find his DNA on that small item, that probably helped lead them to him. And I know as we get further down, I think there was some information about him having on a mask or something. They couldn't really see his face. So leaving his DNA behind is probably what got him caught. Part of it, obviously, but we'll see. And then the thing is that they had the house had that party like a day or two before, and he could say he left it there for that reason. So there are a couple of excuses that he can come up with. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department officers, Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. Two of the interviews included BF and DM. Both BF and DM were inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicides and were roommates to the victim. BF's bedroom was located on the east side of the first floor of the King Road residence. And they're basically abbreviating the roommates that are still alive's name, even though their names have been put out by a lot of people. Okay, I'm seeing some more corrections coming in for me. We got Chapin. I've heard Chapin and Chapin from officials. Haven't heard the family say it though. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Someone says Shapin. That makes sense. Shapin makes sense. Tiny D says Emily D. Baker struggled with the names too. Don't feel bad. Yeah, I've never seen these names before at all. Nissa says, Brie, I feel you as a therapist. I always have a lot of last names that I have to say. Yippee, yuppie. Yeah. Same with the thing about it with law is if it's your client, they tell you how to say it. I have some opposing parties where it's like, I'm glad I don't have to say their first name or last name because it's hard. I just call them petitioner and respondent to make it a little bit easier. Okay, let me see here. We got some people popping in. Let me say, Nissa says, you would think with my last name, I would be able to do better. Yeah, I don't know if I say your last name right. J. Michael RN says, love being a linguist in addition to medical, LOL, love learning new words. Yeah, me and pronunciation are not good friends at all. Not good friends at all. But I'm happy to have people in the chat that know how to pronounce things, unlike me. Sassafras Cap says, hi, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. That's a tough name if we were talking about tough names. Hello Swanky says to Jane Michael, you study linguistics too? What concentration, what type? Okay, guys are having good conversation. Elizabeth Carmichael says, sorry, I'm late. Missed that you were live tonight. It's okay. Welcome to the party. We're here. We're waiting. 2K. I hope you get through it 2 times speed. I mean, because I am struggling through this. Everybody says, glad you made it, Elizabeth. Okay, let's jump back into it. So we left off with them basically finding all of the bodies. And then we're going to see what other things are said here. Okay. Wrong one. I don't like that. What are these new layouts? What's going on? Oh, I guess. Oh, it's probably the way that I have my screen, probably. Okay. Based on numerous interviews conducted by MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents, as well as my review of evidence, I have learned the following. On the evening of November 12, 2022, Chapin, I'm going to call him Chapin, and Kernoodle were seen by BF at the Sigma Chi on the University of Idaho campus at the address from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. On November 13, BF also estimated that at approximately 1:45 a.m., Chapin and Kernodle returned to Kernodle. How do you Kernodle? I don't want to call her Kernodle. Kernodle returned to the King Road residence. BF also stated that Chapin did not live in the King Road residence, but was a guest of Kernodle. Uh, Gonsalves, Gonsalves and Mogan were at a local bar, the Corner Club on Main Street in Moscow. Gonsalves and Mogan. I'm just going to start using the first letter of the name since they all have different first letters. We got C for Chapin, K for Kernerdle, G for Gonsalves, and M for Mogan because I don't want to mess up anyone's name. So we're just going to start using letters, okay? Can be let's see, M and M and G can be seen on video footage provided by the Corner Club between 10 p.m. on November 12th and 1:30 a.m. on November 13th. At approximately 1:30 a.m., G and M can be seen on video at a local food vendor called Grub Truck in downtown Moscow. I'm probably going to mess that one up too. The Grub Truck live streams video from their food truck on the streaming platform Twitch, which is available for public viewing on their website. This video was captured by law enforcement. A private party blank reported that he provided a ride to G and M at approximately 1:56 a.m. from downtown Moscow in front of the Grub Truck to the King Road residence. DM and BF both made statements during interviews that indicated that occupants of the King Road residence were home, or let's see, that the occupants of the King Road residence were at home by 2 a.m. and asleep or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. This is with the exception of K, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. DoorDash that early is strange. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like G playing with her dogs in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. A short time later, DM said she heard who she thought was G say something to the effect of "there's someone here." A review of records obtained from forensic download of K's phone showed this could also have been K, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4 a.m. Wow, they have a lot of information already. It's definitely interesting to how it sounds like several people were awake at the time, but two people, well, I don't know if they were awake. Well, yeah, they said they heard these things, so they had to be awake, right? To be able to identify who it was saying what. Um, yeah, they had a lot of people awake at this time. DM stated she looked out the bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated that she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kay's room. DM then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the southwest of 1022 King Road, picked up a distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Kay's bedroom. So they're probably saying that they heard her dog and heard some of the commotion going on. But with all of this commotion, and I've literally forgotten, okay, G and M lived on the same floor. K is the one with the boyfriend, right? Who is C. How did he attack them? Or how did the person attack them both if they were in like the same room? I mean, it can happen for sure, but Let's read further and see what's going on here. Okay, DM stated she opened her door for the third time. She heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. That would sound like Kohberger, but it might also sound like a lot of people in that area as well. The male walked past DM as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the backsliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room. After seeing the male, DM did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. Okay, guys, what do you guys think about that? And I understand like that this person survived a bad crime, but something sounds a bit fishy about that to me. I want to know if you guys think that sounds fishy. Why did he just walk past her? What did he have against the people, or this he allegedly have against the people that he went up the stairs and did all of those things to, and then saw her to the point where she could identify his eyebrows and just was like, I'm done for the night. Why would he leave witnesses? Why would he leave witnesses? And the fact that they could, not saying that the survivors are guilty or anything like that. I've seen some speculation of people saying that they are, but why did he leave her? It would be different if he never saw her because she stayed in the room, but him seeing her to the point where she could see his eyebrows, um, yeah, I don't see someone, I don't know. I don't see someone just walking out of there after that. That's a witness. Okay, we're going to go with Amber Lowe saying, as the public was throwing law enforcement under the bus for going so slow, but seeing all the detailed PC says otherwise. Yeah, they were, they had to make sure they got the right person. Saying exactly to Amber. Yes, Tanya. Hello Swaggy says, that's what I've been wondering from jump. How one person managed to unalive so many with a knife, especially with multiple people in one room. My thing would be, especially with the girlfriend and the boyfriend in one room. I would like to know the order of this happening, because usually when people are going to commit this type of crime against someone, they would normally take out the male first because that's going to be the biggest threat to you. And if I remember correctly, the guy is a pretty big guy. He's not like a little scrawny 5 foot 100-pound guy. The boyfriend, he wasn't a small guy if I remember correctly. So how was he able to do this? Was he sleeping? It would be my question. Was the boyfriend sleeping? J. Michael RN is speaking in Spanish saying, bien, gracias, trabajo ahora. And I know what that means. Good, thank you, working right now. I know a little bit of Spanish, guys. Cardova says, indeed, to Amber, you're going to be amazed with what they had, how early they had it, and what they were keeping. Okay, so what you're saying is that they had all of the information early on, but they took a while to arrest. But I think a part of it was that they didn't know where he was, and maybe they didn't want to like accuse him before getting like the DNA things back, because remember one of the autopsy reports didn't come back until December, so maybe they were waiting on things like that. But I'll wait, because I haven't read this. Like I said, I haven't read the whole thing, so we'll see what they had back then. Nissa says Natalie pointed out that Ted Bundy did this. As far as attacking multiple people at once, I know also with the Golden State Killer, everyone was like, oh, he only goes for single women, so couples you're okay. And then when somebody said that, then he started going for couples. Same thing with dogs. Oh, if you have a dog at home, he's not going to go there. He started breaking into homes with dogs. I know that the way, or from what I remember, the way that he allegedly did it was he ever convicted? I can't remember. was that he will bring the male or the second person out of the room and put plates on their back and tell them like, hey, if you get up, I'm gonna kill you, or I'm gonna kill your wife, or something like that. But in my opinion, my thought process behind that, if I was a male and someone was telling me that they were going to do something to my wife and they're going to tell me to lay down and put the plates on my back, I don't know exactly how all of these things happen, but I would want my man to try to fight him before he could even tie him up and get his put the plates on his back. I don't know. Was he not? I can't remember exactly how it went down. So let me not go there. I think that we should just fight him, and if we survive, we survive. If we don't survive, he ended up killing the people anyway. So let's just fight from the start. Well, with the Golden State Killer, at first he wasn't killing people, and then he started killing people. So yeah, this is gonna get red flagged for sure. For sure. Okay, that's okay though. We're getting good discussion coming on. Cardoba82 says Spanish is my first language. Nissa says it's basically ego. Are we talking about the case? Like how he was able to do all of that and like leave one person remaining? I feel like they might know a little bit more. Cause what were they doing up? The people that survived, what were they doing up? I can't remember. Hello Swanky says, I assumed every update from the police was a lie in a sense that I figured they had a suspect pretty early on and were refusing to say it. I don't know why the public doesn't understand that's how this works. I believe that is true. They probably did have their suspect, but they probably didn't want another situation like Brian. What was the other guy's name with the Gabby Petito case? They probably didn't want another case like that where he ended up killing himself, right? If I'm not mistaken. So maybe they didn't want another situation like that. M says he might have just not been prepared to murder someone who was awake and able to fight. But it sounds like there were multiple people awake. One person, Kay, went to the door to get her DoorDash at 4:00. I'm sure she didn't eat it in 15 minutes and then, go to sleep immediately and then 2 minutes later, this man comes into the house. I can't imagine that happening. I don't know who can eat that fast. And then it sounded like there was one other person that said someone's in the house. So it sounds like multiple people were awake. So I don't know. We can go back and look at it. Cardoba says to M, the police hasn't found the knife. They only found the sleeve so far. Hella Swanky says, yeah, but the amount of time it would have taken based on injury, each person, which is said to be a lot. Yes. And I also think that he couldn't have been that quiet if the camera heard thuds and dogs barking. And you want to tell me that nobody woke up, or maybe they hid and didn't try to defend their friends, which is also reasonable because you don't want to get caught up either. Hence why the survivors just kept opening and closing the door when they thought they heard things, which I, again, also think is weird. But yeah, I feel like it would have made some type of noise. He would have had to go in the room with two people first. And the room with two people also had the dog, right? Am I mixing the people up? I think the two people had the dog too. So it's just a lot going on. All right. And this says, yes, Ted Bundy was convicted. Yes, he was. Let's see. Cardova says, you're quite welcome, dear. Tiny D says, we know Bree is scrappy. I don't know. I just feel like, and I think Alpha gets mad at me all the time when I say it. I'd be like, I don't know if I have like that survival instinct. I would just, fight and see what happens, and hope that it would survive. And of course, you never know what you would do in that moment, but I don't know if I'm going to go with it. I don't know. But I definitely want to know, what was the layout? Was everybody awake? Was everybody asleep? Did he go and put tear gas in and knock some people out and then do it? But you can't be that quiet with a knife crime. And they normally say that knife crimes are passionate crimes, like they know the person. So I'm wondering, like, was he not invited to the party that they had? I want to know the reasoning, if there is going to be reasoning released. I really would like to know. Cardova says, but we love her nonetheless. Right. I should not say these things on live stream. People are going to think I'm crazy talking about I would try to fight them. I would want my man to fight them before he even get the chance to put the plates on his back. You gotta fight for me. But some people are not confrontational. I don't know. And I'm not a confrontational person, but if someone is trying to attack me, then yes, I'm going to become confrontational. Cardova 82 says, I do believe he did not work alone unless he used something along the lines of ether. Would that be something to knock him out? I did hear, and this is just hearsay because we don't know if it's true or not, but that he said something along the lines once he was arrested, was anyone else or has anyone else been arrested yet? As if he did work with someone. I would be open to hearing, I'm open to hearing any of the details, but I would like to see if that does come out. If there's going to be more people arrested, are there more than one defendant? Is he going to snitch? Is that why we have the gag order, for him to be able to snitch and take a plea deal or plead the fifth? Because I think that was in there too. So we'll see. Hello Swanky says, someone mentioned that the house was known to have a lot going on all the time, people in and out, etc. So maybe the roommates didn't realize it was danger when they heard the noises. That is true. There is some stories that they had a party like 2, 3, or maybe maybe a couple of days earlier, that there was a party, so that there was probably a lot of DNA in there. I don't know how true that is, but based off of like some people's posts, you can see that it looked like they were in that house and that they basically had a party there. So if that's true, that wouldn't surprise me. Cardoba 82 says, we may never know what his reasoning is, but every time I see his photo, the names Leopold and Leob come to mind. I don't know what that means. You might have to explain that. Hello Swanky says, it's also been said that the house is pretty disjointed, that things happening in one part aren't necessarily heard in other parts. That would make a lot of sense. I'm sure we'll get information regarding that coming up once the case goes further. Okay, where are we at here? Didn't recognize the male, but she saw his eyebrows, got that close to him. And maybe I'm just a little skeptical because my vision's not that good, and someone would have to be very close to me for me to see their eyebrows and for me to notice that they are bushy, because that's not the first thing that I'm looking at. I would probably just see a black figure, and that's all I would see. So I am always surprised about how many details people can give. Like when people give details to sketch draw somebody, I don't know how they do it, because I'm like, how did you notice all of those things? I don't notice that many things about people's faces when I see them. Maybe in a traumatic situation I would, but for the most part, yeah, I'm not good at describing what people look like. Oh no, stop it. Okay, here we go. The combination of DM's statement to law enforcement, review of forensic downloads of records from BF and DM's phone, and video of a suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe that the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25. So remember, for those of you that said that maybe they were sleeping, that one girl, she picked up her DoorDash order at 4 a.m. So how did he manage to get in when she got her DoorDash? And that could have threw off his whole plan if this was planned. During the processing of the crime scene, investigator found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by ISP forensic team. By first using a presumptive blood test and then an amino black and protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material, the detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a van-type shoe sole just outside the door of DM's bedroom, located on the second floor. This is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. So his shoe print was right outside of her door. So that means he got that close to her. They're saying right outside of the door, but they're not saying exactly how far away from the door. But with the way that I'm imagining, right outside the door, it's like literally you walk past me and you probably could have brushed your shoulder up against me. That's what I'm imagining it as. So he was that close in my head to her. As part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as video canvas, was conducted in the area of the King Road residence. This video canvas was to obtain any footage from the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, in the area of the King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate suspects or suspect vehicles traveling to or leaving from the King Road residence. This video canvas resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had a conversation with other officers, detectives, and agents that are similarly reviewing footage that was obtained. A review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan hereinafter suspect vehicle 1 was observed traveling westbound in 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 at um, Moscow, right? At approximately 3:28. On this video, it appears suspect vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate. Oh, so it sounds like he waited to go in if he was over there by that time. And then my other question would be, I would assume that he was not acting alone, as someone has already said in the chat, because how do I make this thing go away? Is there a way to make this go away? Go away. I don't know how to do it. Okay. He probably wasn't acting alone, because if it started at 4:17 and ended at 4:25, that's really fast. Unless he was already sneaking in at 4 and then, bouncing around to the rooms while the girl was getting DoorDash. I don't know. I'm confused at this point. I did see someone say that it left them with more questions than answers. I feel like this is leaving me with more questions than answers, okay? Um, a review of footage from multiple videos obtained from the Kings Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of suspect vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 and ending at 4:20, which again makes the time frame even smaller. These sightings show the suspect vehicle 1 makes an initial 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leaves via Willenta Drive. Based off of my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with a very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit the area during this time frame. Not looking good for him. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a fourth time at approximately 4:04. So again, after 4 o'clock, the time frame is getting smaller and smaller, in my opinion. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around the front of 500 Queen Road, number 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road resident, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound down Queen Road again. Okay, so all of this driving, when people still commit crimes like this, like back in the day, it was a lot easier to get away with stuff like this. But now they have literally cameras everywhere, and they're just getting camera footage from other people's houses and things like that. It's so easy to get caught. And in this instance, it was easy for him to get caught because he's driving, or whoever this is, allegedly Kohberger, is driving up and down the street trying to find a parking spot or trying to figure out what he's doing. Did he not think that no one would have cameras in this neighborhood? Did he not check out his scene before this happened? Because this feels pretty planned to me, unless he was only driving back and forth to find a house. But I don't think so. I think he knew his way around the house. Allegedly, whoever did this, knew their way around the house and knew exactly who they wanted to go to. Suspect Vehicle 1 is the next seen departing the area of the King Road residence at approximately 4:20 a.m. So that's giving me a 15-minute window. We got 4:04 and we got 4:20. That's the window I'm going with. They're saying between 4 and 4:25. I'm saying 4:04 to 4:20. So he left at a high rate of speed. Suspect Vehicle 1 is next observed traveling southbound on Walita Drive. And if he was trying to get away, that still doesn't explain why he wouldn't take out that other roommate that saw him, that he probably see him. Okay. Based on my knowledge, I'm starting to get frustrated. I'm sorry, guys. Based on my knowledge of the area and review of camera footage in the neighborhood, that does not show suspect Vehicle 1 during that time frame. I believe that Vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Conestoga Drive. Palouse River Drive is at the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County. Remember, he was actually living in a different county, different state, actually. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington, and Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns, and people commonly travel back and forth between them. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation that regularly utilize surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of an unknown vehicle that is observed by one or more cameras during the commission of a criminal offense. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years of law enforcement experience with 12 years at the FBI. His specific training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles, and he uses databases that gives visual clues of vehicles across the state to identify differences between vehicles. Yeah, one other thing they can do is search that area of cameras to try to look for that particular car, although there might be a lot of those white little cars, but to see if he got out of it. But let me take a break from this because this is getting too much for me. So let's see what the chat is saying here. Okay. All right. Cardoba82 says Leopold and Leob were two men that killed a kid because they wanted to know what killing somebody felt like. That is so bad. And it happens more often than not. And with his situation, you know how I said in the beginning of the stream that it's always people with these strange last names. I'm like, some of these people actually say they want to be notorious killers. They want to be known for doing this. It's ridiculous. That's like people's reasonings are so bad. Tanya D says, isn't there a documentary on Amazon or Netflix about those guys? Yep. So Credible says A. Jane Stoder says, hi, Bree. Hello, welcome to the live stream. We're getting heated in here. Tanya D says, hey to Jane. Jane says, I think the timeline was 406 to 425. Okay, that's the timeline you're going with. I'm going to 404 to 420. I'm making it, well, that's still, yours is about 20 minutes. I'm making it about 15 minutes based off of the camera footage that is alleged here. Jane Sutter says, hi, Bree Hive. I'm binging on this. Have watched Emily D. Baker, Natalie, and Runkle on this today. Oh, it is all good. Sounds good. Everyone's covering it, so we are okay. We just have a different point of view, right? Hello, Swanky says, hi to Jane. Hope you are well. Yes, we do hope you are well. But happy that you came to join us today to see what we have going on here at the Bree Hive talking about this. Okay. And then Tiny D says, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks. We appreciate the support. Yes, definitely. If you guys haven't already, hit the like button and the subscribe button. YouTube is probably going to ding this one because I am not bleeping out words. So go ahead and hit the like button. And hopefully YouTube will favor us still, even though they don't like the topic. Caitlin Klein says, hi, Bree. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome. We are having a good time over here. We are looking at the probable cause affidavit for the Idaho 4 murders. Sorry, I hear loud music outside. Okay, it's probably out. Okay, here we go. We are jumping back into the affidavit to see what the police are saying and why they thought they should arrest Mr. Kohberger. Okay, where are we at? After reviewing the numerous observation of suspect vehicle 1, the forensic examiner initially believed the suspect vehicle 1 was a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2011 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. That is a big gap of car. They had to have changed the design at some point, right? As a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons in possession of a vehicle that is a 2011 to 2016 white Hyundai Elantra. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus located in Pullman, Washington. A review of that video indicated that at approximately 2 a.m. or 2:44 a.m. on November 13, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north or on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. At approximately 4:53 a.m., a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra, known as Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street, Pullman, Washington, towards SR 270. SR 270 connects to Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho. So they're tracking. That's what I said. Track the vehicle from, just follow it back towards the direction that you thought they went. Pullman, Washington was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman, Washington as being a 2016 to 2014 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of suspect vehicle 1, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, and on WSU cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road leads directly back to West Poulos River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Conestoga Drive. The white sedan was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on SR 270. At approximately 5:27 a.m., the white Elantra was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at Grimes Way, Stadium Drive at Wilson Road, and Stadium Way at Cougar Way. So, I'm basically following this car around the map. Yeah. Hello.
You want me to join it?
No, we're too deep in, man.
Too deep in.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's the depiction showing Moscow and Pullman. Depiction showing white Elantra path. Are these little dots here? Is that what we're following? I think so. Do. I don't know which way, but are they the little dots? Which dots are they? It's a lot of dots. Okay. All right. More. They gotta give us more pictures. Okay. Let's see. What do we have here? White Elantra is the little yellow triangles. That's 1. 2. This is North Valley Road. I can't see the little arrows. Some of them are blurry. Are these also arrows? I don't think so. I think that's just some buildings. Oh my gosh. I can't tell the arrows. Not the best picture, but hey, probable cause, right? On November 25th, 2022, MPD asked area law enforcement agency to be on the lookout for a white Hyundai Elantra in the area. Why would he use his own car? Not saying, how to get away with it, but he used his own car, and allegedly wasn't he studying like criminology? On November 29, 2022, at approximately 12:28 a.m., Washington State Police Officer Daniel Tiango queried white Elantras registered at WSU. It took them 4 days to do that. As a result of the query, he located a 2015 white Elantra with a Pennsylvania license plate. The vehicle was registered to Bryan Kohberger. So, who said they knew the information early on? Allegedly, they at least tied the car back to him as of November 29th. So almost a month it took them to arrest him, or over a month it took them to arrest him. But of course, they then had to match the DNA to him and match other things to him. But when they saw those bushy eyebrows, and then they compared it to the story, that's I guess a lot of people have bushy eyebrows, right? Okay, let's move on because I'm getting too speculating here. Let's see. He found it belonging to Kohberger, residing at this location, gave us his whole address, as approximately 3/4 of a mile from an intersection of Stadium Way and Cougar Way, last camera location that picked up the white Elantra. The same. Okay, so a short distance away from the last camera. The same day at approximately 12:58 a.m., WSU Officer Curtis Whitman was looking for a white Hyundai Elantra, located a 2015 white Elantra at this address in the parking lot. Is an apartment complex that houses WSU students. Too far. Officer Whitman also ran the car and it returned to Kohberger with a Washington tag. I reviewed Kohberger's Washington State driver's license information and photograph. The license indicate that Kohberger is a white male with a height of 6 foot and weighs 185 pounds. Additionally, the photograph of Kohberger shows that has bushy eyebrows. That's the one that I'm going after, is the bushy eyebrows. Kohberger's physical description is consistent with the description of the male DM saw inside the King Road residence on November 13th. Further investigation included a review of Lata County Sheriff Deputy Corporal Duke's body cam, and report showed that on August 21st, 2022, Bryan Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop that occurred in Moscow, Idaho, by Corporal Duke. At the time, Kohberger the sole occupant, was driving a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra and Pennsylvania plate which was set to expire November 30th, 2022. So those tags were going out of date. He was allegedly driving around without the tags on November 13th. Let's see what else they have to say. During the stop, which was recorded via law enforcement body cam, Kohberger provided his phone number, hereinafter the 8458 phone number, as his cellular telephone number. Investigators conducted electronic queries and learned that the 8458 phone number was issued by AT&T. Don't know why that matters, but okay. Why didn't they? Oh, that was back in August. I was like, why didn't they look for cars with that description that had been pulled over in that area before? But I guess it was back in August. So let's move on here. On October 14, 2022, Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic. Again, he gets pulled over like all the time. Part of a traffic stop by WSU police officer. Upon review of that body cam and report of the stop, Kohberger was the sole occupant who was driving the white 2015 Elantra with that license plate number. What is up with him and getting pulled over all last year? On November 18, 2022, according to Washington State Licensing, Kohberger registered the 2015 white Elantra with Washington and later received a plate after the date of the alleged murder, so that he can get a different license plate. Prior to this time, the white Elantra was registered in Pennsylvania. which does not require a front license plate to be displayed. This was learned through communications with the Pennsylvania officer who is currently certified in the state of Pennsylvania based on my own experience. So he probably thought he was just going to change the license plates and then no one was ever going to be able to find him. That's my opinion about it. Based on my own experience and communication with Washington law enforcement, I know that Idaho and Washington require front and back license plates to be displayed. Investigators believe that Kohberger is still driving the 2015 white Elantra because his vehicle was captured on December 13, 2022, and then he dumped the car, right? By a license plate reader in Loma, Colorado, information provided by a query to the database. Kohberger's Elantra was then queried on December 15, 2022 by law enforcement in Hancock County. So I think some of you were right earlier where they knew who they were looking for, but they just had to find him. And I think it makes sense not to publicize his name before they can really get to him and have a conversation with him or actually arrest him because, like I said, that last day, Gabby Petito case, please correct me if I'm wrong, chat, because I keep saying it. I think he ended up unaliving himself. And then so justice was never brought to the family. So maybe they were trying to avoid a situation like that. Let's see. Anybody that is in law enforcement, do you guys like to give out the suspect or do you like to keep it secret? With something as because you guys, I don't do criminal law, so I don't know all the way. But with somebody as what we're perceiving to be as vicious as him, would we want him to know that we are looking for him? Is he going to go on a spree if we know that we are looking for him, right? Yes. Marianne says the map is really bad. Yeah, the map is really bad. I didn't know if it was just my vision or it looked like they took the picture at night and then was like, hey, look at this. Probable cause. Tiny D says, it hasn't been mentioned, but I never thought about him being a door dasher. I thought about that too, but the police said that they contacted the actual door dasher that went to her house. So I don't think so. I don't think he would have been the door dasher because they said that they talked to a door dasher that told them that he delivered around 4 a.m. Unless the door dasher was his friend. I don't know. Or, like when Uber, this is speculation, guys, not in any news reports. Do not quote me. When Uber first came out, how the people were hacking into the Uber and like picking people up and kidnapping them, even though they weren't the actual Uber driver. And that's why we have to be like, let them tell you your name first. But if they hack the app, they would know your name too. So, but yeah, if he hacked the app, maybe. This one seems like he knows them though. But to go through the house in the way that he did, allegedly he did, I feel like he had to know them. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. Huswanky says, I wondered that as well. Why use his own car? But borrowing or renting a car would just be additional evidence against him. Yeah, or you could steal a car. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Some people do just steal the car, and then you can't really link back to them unless they left like fingerprints in the car. Additional evidence, right? Yes. This way he can't try to claim someone else drove it. Yeah, that's true too. That is true too. But I've seen people steal cars. I watch a lot of true crime. And for him to be studying criminology, allegedly, he didn't really do so well. Cardova 82 says he may have a master in criminology, but not forensics. So yeah, I don't know if he has it in criminology at this. If he is the one that did it, remember these are allegations. If he is the one that did it, I don't think he paid attention in class. If he was trying to get away with it, if he was actually trying to get caught and like leaving clues around, then sure, he did what he was looking to do. But if he was trying to get away with it and he studied criminology, I don't think he was paying attention in class. And I'm happy that he wasn't. If he's the one that did it, I'm happy that he wasn't because he got caught, right? All right. Let's see. M says, would ATT matter if they're using his phone signal to prove he was in Moscow that night? I think he's claiming he was in Pomonat that time. I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, if they ask the question, sorry, I just stuttered. If they ask the question, was like, well, how did you pull his phone records? Oh, AT&T. He has a phone through them. But they don't really tie all of that together in the affidavit. So that possibly could be, yeah, possibly to say, oh, we went through AT&T and found his number was through them and blah blah blah. We pulled the records. Yeah, that makes sense. J. Michael Aryan said criminology is a social science, forensic is a natural science. Yes. Elizabeth says finally caught up. Yay, you are here live with us now. In the confusion that is this affidavit. Hello Swanky says to Cardo, but really, dang, yeah, I guess master's program are more specialized, but that's pretty surprising. Do you know what his bachelor's is in? I cannot remember. J. Michael corrected me and said, yes, Brian Landry, him. He went and hid in the mountains and then he offed himself, allegedly. Or not allegedly. That is what he, well, a lot of people speculate that that wasn't actually him. That's a whole nother story. Elizabeth says, I think that his PA registration, Pennsylvania registration, expired at the end of November, and that could be a reason for the change separate from the crime, but coincidental. Yes, it does. It does say that in here that his license plates was changing or going to be expired like November or at the end of November. So November 30th, I think it said. But could it have been that he knew that his license plate was going to expire and maybe he might be like Leob, what Cardoba talked about earlier, where he wanted to see what it will feel like to commit a crime. We don't know his motives yet, but maybe he wanted to see what it will feel like to commit a crime. And he thought that this was the perfect time to do it because his license plate was expiring. This is just my mind going crazy right now and putting my thoughts out into the universe. All speculation, not what has been reported or anything of that nature. I don't know if it was coincidental. I think he was like, well, my license plate is expiring. My opinion would be he was like, oh, it's going to expire anyways. I could just use my car because I'll get a new license plate anyways. I hope that was not his thought process, but in my head, that was his thought process. Hello Swanky says to J. Michael saying, right, I get that, but no study of forensics. I had to take natural science courses for my minor in speech communication. My bachelor still included nat sci coursework. I'm just surprised. Okay. Cardova says to M, they did more than that as they matched the times in the videos of the car to the pingings of his phone. They also found the exact moment when he turned off his phone. That gave them the time frame. Smart. Hella Swinky says, WTF, I totally missed that. Uber dropped the ball there. Yeah, that was like a while ago when they were doing that, like when they first came out. I hope they're still not doing it. I hope they solved that problem. Hella Swanky says, I didn't even think about stealing a car. I feel like that's the most logical, not to help criminals or anything, but I feel like that's what he probably should have did if he didn't want to get caught because of his car, which his car was a big piece in catching him. From what I'm reading, it was a big piece in catching him. I don't know. Minds may differ, but I think it was a big part of catching him. J. Michael RN says, for the BA, I took Nat Sci, Geo, and Astro, one of those Astro classes. Okay. Says that's some great police work. Okay, let's see where we at. Good night, Marianne. Have a great night. I know it's been a lot of this topic all day, right? All right. Tanya D says he really seems like he was trying to get caught. He left the sheath and a witness. Also went back to the house. Keep reading for that. I didn't get there yet. I didn't know that was there. You spoiled it, Tanya, but that's okay. That's okay. Yes, that was kind of my point that I guess I didn't make too clear earlier is that he wanted to see what it would feel like to commit a crime. And maybe he wanted to test how good the police was and to kind of test the criminology that he learned in class. Either that or he didn't pay attention. I don't know. Either he's testing the theories or he just didn't pay attention. That's my opinion. If he is the one that did it, which it a lot of things point to him. I'm gonna say that a lot of things point to him. Okay. Hello, Swanky. Oh, or since he said, has anyone else been arrested? I'm not really covering the law at this point. I'm speculating at this point. But if he asked if anyone else was arrested, what if someone put him to be a decoy, driving his car back and forth to distract the cameras and the police, and then like dropped that person off? They committed it together, or he dropped off like two people that committed the crime without him that looked similar to him, and then they got into a different car and they drove off, and then Kohberger was still distracting the cameras. Probably far-fetched. That's probably far-fetched. But what if he was a decoy? I wonder if anyone thought about that. Need more information for sure. J. Michael says Everglades, not the mountains. Cardova said he turned it off before he got there and then turned it on after a few blocks from the house. Okay. Z Seltzer says he isn't claiming anything because there's no plea and a gag order, so deaf lawyer hasn't said it. Anything heard in the media would be speculation. Exactly. That is true. We just went over the gag order not too long ago. Some people might slip up and say something, but all of my theories are just theories in my head that I'm making up as I go because I am really trying to think of his thought process, especially if he has that background in criminology. How did he get caught so easy? Not that he was caught easy. It took a while, but technically, yeah, he got caught kind of easy. This is said, I don't get it. If you are going to commit a murder, why bring your pound? I don't know what you're referring. Oh, phone. I was like, why bring your pound? That doesn't make sense. But yeah, why bring your phone? Again, maybe he's a decoy. Why drive his own car? Yeah, I'm not gonna do too well with this case until more facts come out. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not gonna do well with this case until more facts come out. I'm easily distracted in what his thought process must have been. Elizabeth says to Tanya, heard Runkle make the point that DM freezing could have allowed the person who walked by her to notice her, and so he may not have realized he left a witness. Her freezing? My question with that would be, when she opened the door, was her lights off? And if his footprint was that close to her door, could he really? I mean, maybe if he's blind like me, then maybe he could have missed her. But I don't know. Someone with blood on their mind? I don't know. I'll have to go see what Runkle meant by that. Okay. Host Swinky says, nah, stealing a car is def the most logical and obvious option. I just didn't think of it. That's if I were to do something of that nature, that's probably what I would do. But I'm glad he didn't because now he's caught, right? So, okay. So Cardova says, yeah, some of these mistakes are just ridiculous. Criminology masters are not. He, of all people, should have known better, especially if this was planned. This does not seem like something that was spur of the moment. I feel like this one was planned. That's my opinion on it. Cardova Tehela Swanky says A, but some people think they are more intelligent than they really are. To me, he didn't pay attention in class if he is thinking that he's intelligent with all the things that he left behind. C-Ty says, Bree, he is a loner. He just wants to see what the usual suspects are. That's true. That is true. And if I gotta stop speculating. Okay, I can't play with you guys anymore on the speculation. I can't do it anymore. But these are things that might come out, right? All right. Saiti says he thought small town and dupe the cops. Yeah, that you can get away with it. Kind of like the what is the Joan Bonet? What's her name? Joan Bonet case with the little girl in small town. They messed up the investigation. He probably thought it would be a similar thing. Oh, Swanky, that. Yeah. Swanky said, I def think you're right about that being his line of thinking. Yeah. Tiny D, that's why he wants to know what they have on him or if anyone else has been arrested, right? If he's gonna plead the fifth, right? Jane says, I think the police took their time and investigated thoroughly before making the arrest, making sure that they're getting the right person because this was already highly publicized from the beginning of it. So you can't go around arresting the wrong people because people are watching. United States, America is watching, and they had to be very careful on it. And they also had to track down the car. That was one of the bigger pieces. I'm not sure if his DNA was already in the criminal system. So that car was a really big piece. And it took them until December to track down the car. Tanya D says, they did, Jane. I'm glad they did. Yes, take their time. Elizabeth says, I have opened my door with the lights off to look at something with the thought that I would be harder to see. I'm so pale, I glow though. That's funny. Also, not sure if ever states how open her door was. Yeah, that's another question too. But she opened and closed her door twice. They said she did it twice. He didn't hear the door open. I guess if he was in the middle of a spree, then I guess you wouldn't hear that. But that's so scary. You guys know so much. Joan Benet Ramsey, yes, her. Where the small town police officers messed up the investigation. Maybe that was his line of thinking. Hello Swanky says, Bree, his classmates said he constantly interrupted and spoke over his professors, thinking he knew better, more or better. Well, at least one of his professors, the quasi-famous one, forgot her name. My bad. It's all good. Yeah, I mean, people that do these kind of things, they have weird behaviors, and this is me generalizing, but yeah, I can see that happening. Cordova says on page 4-2, it says that DM heard a male voice saying, it's okay, I'm going to help you. That's one of the reasons why I think he was not working alone. See, when I read that, I thought maybe it was the girl's boyfriend saying, like, don't worry, I'm going to help you. Kind of like the Golden State Killer, where he put the plates on his back and tied his mouth and tied his hands and all those things. That is his boyfriend, the boyfriend trying to calm the girlfriend down. But that is also an option as well, that maybe it was, the other person saying, hey, I'm going to help you as long as you give me the money or whatever they were trying to do. I think whoever went in there with the intent to do some damage. I don't think they were there to steal the valuables. Not glow. Okay, Z Celsius says, I think the FBI helped a lot to sift through all the data through the police work. Yes, that's true. J. Michael Aryan says Boulder, Colorado isn't a small of a town, John Bonet's case. But I thought it was like a small police force at the time that this was done. I don't know about the size of the town, but I'm pretty sure they had a small police. Oh no, you're right. It was that they didn't have a lot of murder cases. So maybe it wasn't the small town thing. But either way, they messed up the investigation allegedly. Amber Lowe says, as being a victim held at knife point. Okay, we're going to get some information there. Okay, we'll wait on the rest of that. But while we do that, I'm going to jump into the back into the probable cause affidavit, and hopefully I remember where we were. Okay, he was still driving in 2000 or on December 13th. The sole occupant of the vehicle was a white male whose description was consistent with Kohberger. Has his family in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, learned through TLO search and locate the database query. Based on information provided by WSU website, Kohberger is currently a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University. Pursuant to records provided by a member of the interview panel for Pullman Police Department, he learned that Kohberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. These records also show Kohberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. Kohberger wrote his essay. He had interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. Could this be what we talked about earlier? Is that he was trying to see if the small town could keep up with a crime of this magnitude? If that's what he wanted to help out with? I think them releasing this probable cause affidavit kind of goes around the gag order because the affidavit is in the record, but it gives us a lot of detail that the people involved in the case, the prosecutors and defense attorneys and things, would not be able to divulge without this being in the record. So part of me believes this is why they released this. Kohberger also posted a Reddit survey, which can be found by an open source internet search. The survey asked for participants to provide information to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision making when committing a crime. Interesting. As part of this, maybe he did that for a school assignment, though. Maybe. Benefit of the doubt. As a part of the investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine cellular devices that utilize cellular towers in close proximity to the King Road residence on November 13, 2022, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. After determining that Kohberger was associated to both the 2015 Elantra and the 8458 phone, investigators reviewed these search warrant returns. A query of the 8458 number in these returns did not show that the 8458 number utilizing cellular tower resources in close proximity to Kings Road between 3 and 5 a.m. So someone said he turned the phone off. Based on my training experience in conversation with law enforcement officers that specialize in utilization of cellular telephone records as part of investigations, individuals can either leave their cellular phone at a different location before committing the crime or turn their cellular phones off prior to going to the location to commit the crime, which would make sense, right? Let me see. This is done by subjects in an effort to avoid alerting law enforcement that a cellular device associated with them was in a particular area where a crime is committed. I also know that on numerous occasions, subjects will surveil an area where they intend to commit a crime prior to the date of the crime. Depending on circumstances, this could be done a few days before or several months prior to the commission of the crime. During these types of surveillance, it is possible that an individual will not leave their cellular phone at a separate location or turn off since they do not plan to commit the offense on this particular day. On December 23rd, 2022, I applied for and was granted a search warrant for historical phone records between 2012, 2022, and 2014, at 12 a.m. for the phone number held by the phone provider. Again, that's why they needed to tell us about AT&T. On December 23rd, 2022, pursuing a search warrant, I received record for 8458. These records indicated that 8458 phone is subscribed to Bryan Kohberger at an address in Albright, Pennsylvania, and the account has been open since June 23rd, 2022. So this is a new phone account. These records also indicate historical cell site locations for the 8458 phone. After receiving this information, I consulted with an FBI special agent that is certified as a member of the Cellular Analysis Survey Team. Members of CAST are certified by the FBI to provide expert testimony in the field of historical CSLI and are required to pass extensive training that includes both written and practical examination prior to prior to be certified with CAS, as well as the completion of yearly certification requirements. Additionally, the FBI, CAS, SA, and I consulted with was over 15 years of federal law enforcement experience, which includes 6 years with the FBI. This information provided by CAS, I was able to determine estimate locations for that phone from November 12th to November 13th, the time period authorized by the court. On November 13th, at approximately 2:42, the phone was utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage on North Valley Road, apartment G in Pullman, Washington. Where we at? Here and after the Kohberger residence at approximately 2:47, utilized cellular provided coverage in Kohberger's residence consistent with the phone number leaving Kohberger's residence and traveling south through Pullman, Washington. This is consistent with the movement of the white Elantra. At approximately 2:47, the phone stops reporting the network, which is consistent with either the phone being in an area without cellular coverage, the connection of the network disabled, such as putting the phone in airplane mode, or the phone is turned off. The 4858 phone does not report to the network again until 4:48 p.m., at which time it utilized cellular resources that provide coverage to ID State Highway 95 South in Musco, Idaho, and near Blaine, Idaho. Between 4:40 a.m. and 5:26, the phone utilizes cellular resources that are consistent with the phone traveling south on Idaho State Highway 95 to Janice. Am I saying that right? These words are weird. Idaho traveling west towards Uniontown and then back north towards Pullman, Washington, which gave him that time buffer to get back to his apartment at approximately, so that it wouldn't be, oh, he did the crime and then 15 minutes later he was back at home. In 15 minutes it would have took him to get there. I see, if that's what he did, I see why he did it. Criminology, right? At approximately 5:30 a.m., the 8458 phone, utilizing resources that provide coverage to Pullman, Washington, and consistent with the phone traveling back to Kohberger's residence. 8458 phone's movement are consistent with the movement of the white Elantra that is observed traveling north on Stadium Drive at approximately 5:27 a.m. Based on review of the phone's estimated location and travel, the phone travel is consistent with the white Elantra. Further review indicated that the phone utilized cellular resource on November 13, 2022 that are consistent with the phone leaving the area of the Kohberger's resident at approximately 9 a.m. and traveling to Musco, Idaho, specifically utilized cellular resource that would provide coverage to the King Road residents between 9:12 and 9:21. So he went back to the scene of the crime? Is that what that's saying? They left the residence on the 13th and it went to the King Road residence at 9:12 and 9:21. The phone next utilized cellular resource that's consistent with the phone traveling back to an area of the Kohberger's residence and arriving at the area around 9:32. So his place was only about 10 minutes away from their place. Below is a depiction, not to scale, of the possible route taken based on the cellular location. Oh no, stop it. Okay, here we go. Another map. So they're saying he did this. Is this I think this is the route that was the long route, I'm thinking, versus that short route. Okay. Investigators found that the phone did not connect to a cell phone tower that provides service to Musco on November 14th, but investigators do not believe that the phone was in Moscow on that date. The phone was not connected to any towers that provide service to Moscow since that date. Based on my training experience and the facts of the investigation thus far, I believe that Kohberger, the user of the phone, was likely the driver of the white Elantra that is observed departing from Pullman, Washington, and that this vehicle is likely suspect vehicle 1. Additionally, the route traveled of the phone during the early morning of November 13th and the lack of the phone reporting AT&T between 2:47 a.m. and 4:48 a.m. is consistent with Kohberger attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide that occurred at the King Road residence. Okay, let me jump into the chat and see if I can pick up on some of the stuff that was being said before we jumped in there. Let's see. Just trying to find the last chat. Okay, here we go. Amber says, there we go. It says it was more of an instinct. So she said, as being a victim held at knife point, it was more of an instinct mode to make sure I made it alive. I was outside of Walmart and was followed throughout the store and approached me at my vehicle. I got away with a small cut on my chin. Yeah, I think that happens a lot. That definitely happens a lot. And that's what they tell people to do. I just don't know if I am obedient enough to do something like that. But I am glad that you made it out alive. I'm a bit feisty and probably would not. But I'm glad that you definitely made it out alive. And comply. That's what they always say, comply. If they're trying to steal your purse and all that stuff, just comply with them. But other things, but yeah, definitely understand. I think that happens a lot, and I think that is how a lot of people survive. Cardoba 82 says, so sorry that you have to go through something like that, Amber Lowe. May I or anything like that ever never happens again. Yes, I agree with you there, Cardoba. Z Celsius says, I also agree about probable cause record. I also think it will reassure the community that they got the guy. I agree with that. They want to make sure that they see, guys, we were not just playing around. We were actually doing the research and we got the right guy. So we're not going to get this dismissed. Amber Lowe says, it happened back in 2005 and it took me years to be able to drive alone at night when it happened. Yeah, I already have problems driving alone at night. So I definitely understand you on that. Yeah, I don't drive. I don't like going anywhere by myself at night. I don't like going anywhere by myself during the day. So I definitely understand if something like that happened, I probably would be the same way. Jane says, night off, 5 a.m. Eastern comes early. We'll finish watching tomorrow. Thank you for joining live. I know you had a lot to watch, but we're glad you made it here. Have a good night. Yes. Elizabeth says, I believe Andrea Burkhart said that the judge would have had to separately seal the probable cause affidavit because it is public record and therefore would not be covered under the GAG order. Yeah. And it was sealed before. So yeah, I'm not criminal, so I don't know the process. Like I'm not criminal, but I don't practice criminal law, so I don't know the processes, and especially like with it being in a different state as well, things are different. But even in California, I don't know the processes because I'm not in criminal law. I don't practice that. Let's jump back in. Says on December 23rd, 2022, I was granted a search warrant for Kohberger's historic CSLI from June 23rd, 2022 to current prospective location information and the pen register trap and trace. They went through a lot of this information very quickly. Phone to aid in the effort to determine if Kohberger stalked any of the victims, which I would assume might have happened because this feels very intentional to me. It feels very intentional to me, but let's see what the affidavit says. Stalking prior to the offense, conducted surveillance on the King residence, was in contact with any of the victim's associates before or after the alleged offense, any locations that may contain evidence of the murders that occurred on November 13, 2022, the location of the white Elantra registered to Kohberger, as well as the location of Kohberger. On December 23rd, 2022, stuff like this just, it bothers me because I see the dates and I think about like the stuff that I was doing on those dates, and then it makes me feel so bad that I was doing something, positive or having fun while these people's families were going through trying to figure this stuff out. The police were going through trying to figure this stuff out. He was on the run. it when I see dates, I always go back to, oh, I was doing this on that day. I was doing that on this day. And I can't remember a lot of other things. But when I read dates and see dates or hear dates on situations that are negative, it automatically floods in my head and tells me what I was doing that wasn't this, and it just makes me feel bad for the people that went through it. Um, Oh, that was a distraction. On December 23rd, 2022, pursuant to the search warrant, I received historical records from the phone from AT&T from the time the account was open from June 2022. After consulting with CAS SA, I was able to determine estimate locations for the phone from June 22 to present, the time period authorized by the court. The records of the phone showed the phone utilizing cellular resources that provided coverage to the area of King Road on at least 12 occasions prior to November 13th, 2022. All of these occasions, except one, occurred in the late evening or early morning hours of their respective days. That is not good. So, who said that they returned back to the house? It seems like, yeah, he returned back to the house. And not only did he return back to the house after the crime, he also went to the house 12 other occasions, or in the area of the house 12 other occasions before the murder. And then he also got that new phone. Remember that phone? He got that in June. That's not that old of a phone. What, 5 months old? Um, on these occasions, on August 21, 2022, the phone utilized cellular resources, providing coverage to the King Road residents approximately 10:34 p.m. to 11:35 p.m. At approximately 11:37 p.m., Kohberger was stopped by the Latta County Sheriff. I feel like that always happens. When they said the Corporal Duke stopped him, I was like, it was probably on a time where he was casing the house. That was like the immediate thing that popped in my head. And that's probably what happened. Speculation. Don't know if that's the truth. Okay. The phone was utilizing cellular resources consistent with the location of the traffic stop during the time frame. Further analysis of the cellular data provided showed the phone utilized cellular resource on November 13th, consistent with the phone traveling from Pullman, Washington to Lewiston, Idaho on Highway 195 at approximately 12 p.m. The phone utilized cellular resource that would provide coverage to Kate's Cup of Joe coffee stand located in Port Drive, Clarkson, Washington. Surveillance footage from the U.S. Chef store located at Port Drive and adjacent to Kate Cup Joe shows a white Elantra consistent with suspect vehicle 1 drive past Kate's Cup Joe at a time consistent with the cellular data from the phone. They went through a lot of evidence, a lot of technical evidence, which is what this guy was allegedly interested in. At approximately 12:46 p.m., the 8458 phone then utilized cellular data in the area of a Albertsons grocery store in Clarkson, Washington. Surveillance footage obtained the Albertsons showed Kohberger exit the white Elantra consistent with the suspect vehicle. Interior surveillance camera showed Kohberger walk through the store, purchase unknown items at a checkout, and leave at approximately 1:04 p.m., basically trying to establish that he is the guy that owns the car, and he can't say that it's someone else's car or someone else is borrowing his car because he's always the one using it, and he got pulled over, which if he got pulled over twice in that area or like going back and forth from that area, don't you think he would have thought to use a different car? But I guess not. I guess not. He probably didn't think it would link that far back. Whew. Okay. Additional analysis of records for the phone indicated that between approximately 5:32 p.m. and 5:36 p.m., the phone utilized cellular resources that provide coverage to Johnson, Idaho. The phone then stops reporting to a network from 5:36 to 8:30 p.m. That is consistent with the phone being in the area The phone traveled in the hours immediately following the suspected time of the homicides. Wait, what date was that? Between 5:30, the phone was providing coverage in Johnson, and then stops reporting to the network until 8:30. That is consistent with the phone being in the area that the phone traveled in the hours immediately following the suspected homicide time. I don't know if those times line up. I'm confused on that one. Okay. On December 27, Pennsylvania agent recovered the trash from Kohberger residence located at Albright, Pennsylvania. That evidence was sent to Idaho State Lab for testing. On December 28th, the Idaho State Lab reported the DNA profile still in your trash. Classic. Still in the trash to get the DNA. Classic move. Obtained that from the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as not being excluded as the biological father of the suspect of at least 99.998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father. But what if the guy was his stepdad? What if he wasn't the father? I guess they wouldn't have that evidence. But I hope they wouldn't walk away from it if it wasn't his father, but it's his father. Okay. Based on the above information, I am requesting an arrest warrant to be issued for Bryan C. Kohberger, date of birth 11/21. He just turned 28. His birthday is very close to mine, and I was on a cruise on that day. Wow. Sorry. He looks older than 28 to me, but maybe that's just me being me. They want to arrest him for 4 counts of murder in the first degree of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Zena Canodal, and Ethan Chapin. And this was on December 29th, 2022. And that is the end of the affidavit. I think like I said, I'm not in criminal, but I think the ending was a little bit overkill with he went to Albertsons and all that stuff. I get that they're confirming that it was him and it's his phone and his car. I get that they're tying their, what do you call it, circumstantial evidence together. But we'll see what happens. Let's go through the chat, see what you guys have to say. I think that the evidence or what they put in here, there are some things that left me more questions than they gave me answers, but there's also a lot of good information that I think ties him to it. My question would be, is there someone else also involved? I don't know. I think that they have a pretty good case for him. Are they going to be able to prove intent for first degree? I think with the circumstantial evidence of him going in that area 12 times within, what was that, 5 months, if they find evidence of him even being in communication with people that they know or being in that house, I think it's going to get even worse for him. And I think it's going to take talking to him to try to figure out what was going through his head. I hope he tells us. I hope this is not one of those things that just ends and we don't get answers, but definitely understand that these cases take time, and I know we want to know, especially after reading all of this and all the live streams that went on about it. It's definitely something that I think a lot of people are going to be paying attention to, but we also have to be aware that, other people, the survivors, the survivors' families, the victims' families, they don't want to have all of this out in the open. They're going through a hard time. And so all we can do is really try to be respectful, but we do also like to talk about the law and whether he's going to be able to say that this was not first degree murder. He's also, I believe, charged with burglary. It's not on this affidavit, but oh no, it is on there. Actually, I skipped over it. So it is on there, burglary and the 4 counts of murder. Which if he went into that house intending to do that to them, then yes, it would be burglary, even if he didn't steal anything. Okay. Oh, okay. Elizabeth gave us some more details saying it's sealed prior to the first appearance in court by Idaho law from the Idaho press conference post arrest. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. Hello Sunky says, yo, I thought that was just me. I do the same thing. Plus, this one happened the night before my birthday. So I just got this terrible feeling comparing what I was doing to what was happening there. Yeah, that happens to me all the time. I thought it was weird, but maybe it happens to other people too. Z Seltzer said, "Oh, Bree, it gets better. You should see Natalie Lawyer Chick's reaction to the end of this." Yeah, no, it's not a. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. There's a lot of things running through my brain. I don't know what this guy was thinking. Did he get caught on purpose? Did he why did he do this? Like, what is his connection to them? That's what I want to know. Amber Lowe says, so back to the driving. They said he started looking out about 30 minutes prior to the alleged assault and with his phone about 15 minutes prior to that, followed by 20 minutes afterwards. And I know he probably, if he's trying not to get caught, it makes sense for him to then drive around to make it seem like, oh no, it couldn't have been me because it would have only taken me 10 minutes to get back to my house. And it really took me like an hour and a half. So no, it wasn't me. But we really just don't account for where the heck he was during that time. Elizabeth says, feeling bad for doing something good when someone else is going through something terrible is a very normal feeling. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought I was the only one that had that, but I'm happy to hear it's not just me. Hello, Sunky says, oh, wow, I didn't realize that. Definitely thought it was just me, like my anxiety or something. Yeah. Elizabeth says, happens to me all the time. Tanya D says, I feel really bad for DM. She will forever see his bushy eyebrows. How traumatizing. I'm sure she has survivor's guilt. Elizabeth says, agreed with Tanya D. I feel terrible for her. Maybe I've watched too much TikTok speculation, but I feel like the survivors might know a little bit more than they're letting on to know. Um, and part of that is heightened by them saying, he said, was anyone else arrested? I feel like there are more people. Could it not be the roommates and they just got lucky? Sure. But could it be the roommates and they didn't get lucky? But let's also talk about this. I think there was a delay in the actual phone call to the police. Like, what time were the police called that morning? Let me see if I can find it. I think there was a delay. And so if she saw, well, I guess it will go towards the house just having a lot of people in it all the time and they just thought he was just some random person. But if she froze, I don't know. Something's not adding up about me. If she's not involved, then yes, I feel sorry for her. But I feel like there's just more to the story, and I'm not fully convinced that she's not involved. I'm not fully convinced. Let's put it this way. If they were also arrested, or at least she was also arrested, I would not be surprised. Not saying she's guilty, but I would not be surprised if she knows more than what she has told so far. Hello, Sonky says, I said the same thing, Tanya D. I know she got to be traumatized, probably feeling super guilty. I can't even imagine. And then you got people like me and other people on the internet speculating that she knows more. That's not good. Sorry to be a part of her trauma. Elizabeth says, I think the case for him is pretty solid. It's always possible he had an accomplice, but based on what I have seen and heard, it sounds like they don't think so. How did he do it so fast? Then that's 4 people. I'm saying 15 minutes because based off of the camera in his car moving, unless someone else was moving his car, which if there was no one else with him, then no one else could be moving his car. I don't know. 15 minutes and 4 people with a knife? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it has to be someone else. I don't know. Maybe they really just couldn't hear. I don't know. I feel like there's someone else, but we don't have that information yet. Hello, Swanky says, Oh snap, my folks think the roommates are involved despite being cleared. Yeah, people think that. People think that. I don't know what they were cleared on, but evidence can always come up. Just because they didn't arrest them doesn't mean they can't arrest them at a later date if they find something else. I did wonder what exactly cleared them, like what made the police sure they weren't involved. Yeah, I don't know what cleared them either, but we'll see. We'll see as time goes on. And maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. Maybe it just, sometimes things just look suspicious and they're not actually suspicious, but it looks that way. To me, it looks that way. I could be completely wrong. Okay. Gabrielle Joy says Uncivil said they didn't think much of it until they woke up. Yes, but if you see some guy walking around with a mask on in your house and it was creepy enough for you to freeze and you didn't be like, "Oh, hey, Bryan," or "Hey, what are you doing in our house?" You didn't say anything to them. Did she think she was dreaming or something? Like, why did it take so long to call him? Cardoba82 says between page 1 and page 2, it is a redacted page that has more information they did not want the public to know until trial. Yes, that is true. That is there. Tiny D says, I think there is quite possibly more to the story, especially since there was a delay in the call to the police. That's what I'm leaning towards as well. Don't know if they're actually involved or not, but what was the delay about? Like, why didn't you, when you heard them say, I think someone is in the house? Okay, now I'm getting on these people. I'm sorry for them. Why did you hear someone say, I think someone is in the house? You saw someone in the house and then you didn't call the police into the morning? Does that make sense to you guys? And then never even asked if they were okay, or hey, did you guys know that weird guy with the mask walking through the house? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just nosy. I would probably be like, dang, who is that weirdo? Oh, I don't know. That brought so many more things into my head. Okay, Elizabeth says it was mentioned on Runkle's stream that it's possible she was high or had weed and was worried about getting in trouble. Are you more worried about getting in trouble or having some strange man walking through your house in a mask and all black? Or they might think that she was hallucinating if she told them. I don't know. But she heard things twice. And then she told that story to the police. So she couldn't, I don't know. I'm not going for it. Tiny D says, I'll just wait to see how it all plays out. Yeah, exactly. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. Gabrielle George says, were they asleep? Some people were not asleep. Some people were allegedly asleep. They say that the girl that told the story to the police, she was not asleep. One of the girls that were unalived, she was not asleep because she got DoorDash at 4:00 in the morning, and this happened between 4:04 and 4:20, according to the video surveillance that they saw the car driving around. I think there was one other person on that was also not asleep. I would have to go back because I'm just kind of reading this. I didn't take any notes or anything like that. But no, some people were allegedly awake, including the girl that told the story to the police that survived. Z Seltzer says, I think the prosecution is keeping any info the roommates have close so they can use it in trial and don't want anything in the press. And could they also have what do you call it? Plead the fifth, not plead the fifth, but agree to be a witness and they actually know more than what's being told in this probable cause thing. That's a question that needs answers too. Hello, Swankies, because like Megan the Stallion case, and she was offered immunity, and she may or may not have actually been the one to pull the trigger. Is it one of those situations? Hello, Swanky says, I think I'd be more willing / likely to believe they have some involvement if I found out about a connection between Kohberger and the roommates. Yes, exactly. If that comes out, I think a lot of people will start to think that as well. Hello Swanky says, Aziz Seltzer, very true. We might have a plot twist coming. Might have a plot twist. At this point, a lot is possible. A lot is possible. There's so many holes. There's so many holes. So many things are possible. Hello Swanky says, drugs or alcohol that can impact how you process and what you see or think you see. That is true. That is true. But I think when you are under influence, you're a little bit more paranoid. So you would be more likely to call the police, even if you imagine the person. There's a lot of people that call the police about like things that they see in their hallucinations or what they think they see, right? I don't know. I'm just a skeptic. Okay. Z Celsius says they may have been drunk or stuff, but she still was able to recall all of this stuff. And if she's going to claim she was drunk and that's why she waited to call the police, because that's going to be a question. If you thought your roommates were in danger and you thought my client was the one that did it, why did you wait to call the police? And then if they go, oh, well, I was drunk or I was high, they'll be like, oh, so you don't really know if you saw my client in the house, did you? It's going to go bad if that's what they're going to allege. Gonna go bad. If you are too drunk to call the police, how are you not too drunk to identify my client? That won't be good for them if that's what they're going to use. Tiny D says you also have to remember these are college students who had quite possibly could be under the influence of some substance and they weren't thinking clearly. Yes, I get that, but that's not going to hold up well in court. It's not going to hold up well in court. Cordoba says, I need to call it a night, Queen and Beehive. Good night, everyone. Good night to you. We're about to log off as well. So thank you for joining. Thanks for participating in the chat. If you haven't already, hit the like button, guys. Tiny D says, that's what I'm thinking. College is a different time. I get that for sure. I was talking about that the other day. Different time. Nissa Howard says, it's also a college house. They were probably used to people walking around and being weird. That's true as well. A lot of people said there were people in and out of the house as well. But some of the stuff that she said she heard, I don't know. I would be a little bit more nosy. But again, like you said, it was probably always a lot going on, so there was no point of being nosy. And then say exactly with 6 roommates. Yeah, it was a lot going on. I agree with you guys. I just have some skepticism and I want to know more information. I want to know what connection did he have? I think when we find out the connection that he had to these people or lack thereof, because he's going to probably try to claim, how did I know these kids? I went to school 10 minutes away. I don't know these kids. I never got kicked out of their party. I was never invited to their party. Like, we don't know what the heck he's going to say. But once we figure out what the connection is that he has, I think we'll be able to draw better conclusions. And then remember, sometimes we think it's one way and then the trial ends up going a completely different way. So I don't know. I'm just asking questions at this point. I'm just asking questions with my lawyer brain. Elizabeth says, I can say noticing a series of odd events may not have fully processed. Plus, the house going quiet may even convince her nothing was actually wrong into the morning. That is also true. That's a good point as well. That is a good point as well. And they're going to have to be able to communicate that on the stand. So that is all that I have for today. That was a long stream. I did not know it was going to be that long, but it was that long. But we are all done. I will catch you guys on the next live stream on Tuesday. Make sure you let me know what you think about the case in the comments. Tweet at me if you see a case that you want to cover. We will try to keep up with this case. It is very heavy. It has a lot of facts that have me, making too many questions in my head. So I don't know if I will be able to keep up with it on my channel just because it's a lot and I'm getting frustrated already and it's my first day covering it. But other than that, I hope you guys really enjoyed the live stream. And if you did, or if you didn't, go ahead and hit the like button and also hit the subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And have a good night. I will see you on the next live stream.